So in the last 2 weeks I've tested out all of the cooking functions on this new InstantPot Mini, and I've been cooking with InstantPot since 2016. So I didn't think I was going to get any surprises testing this Mini, but guess what? It gave me 2 surprises, and one of them wasn't very good, but I did catch it on camera, so I'll show you that one later. And this is part 2 in a series that I'm doing about this InstantPot Mini. This one is the cooking test, so if you're looking for more detail on the specs, what's in the box and that kind of stuff, go watch part 1. So in this video we'll cover all of these presets. Let's just test my memory. So we're going to test the saute function, the pressure cooking function of course, and the egg function. Now in the US I understand there isn't an egg preset, but there is a rice preset. So I'm also going to do a rice test in this, then the slow cook function, the steam function, and then the yogurt function, and another couple of things along the way, including a bit of information that I've noticed so far in terms of portion sizes and what it holds. But for now, let's start with the first test. Okay, so on to our test for saute and pressure cooking functions. So we're going to make a beef stew, and this beef stew is a really simple recipe. It's a good beginner dish. So we'll get it onto saute, and I want it on saute high, so I'm going to press this middle button and then up till we get the 3 there, leave it on as default of 30 and click on. And like all Instant Pots, this is a stainless steel inner pot, so it's super important that we wait until it's preheated before we add any oil or start doing any cooking. And the Instant Pot makes that easy because I'm now going to let it sit in its preheat, and it's going to tell me when it's nice and hot and ready to start cooking. So there's our message that the pan is hot and ready to go, and we're now in cook mode, so I can add my oil and start with browning the beef. So we've got some stewing beef there. Yeah, I want to hear that sizzle. It's nice and spread out. Oh, this is good. Okay, so we've got a lovely browning on that beef. If I wanted to turn that down a bit, I could press here. And I want to, when the 3 bars are flashing, turn that down to 2, click play, click start again, and you can see we're now on 2, so it will gradually release its temperature. So let's get the rest of our ingredients in. I'm going to deglaze the pot first to avoid the burn notice, and if you don't know what the burn notice is, take a look in the description, I'll point you at it. You do need to know when you're first using Instant Pot. So I'm using wine in here, and let's do that for the deglaze. And get rid of all those sticky bits on the bottom. I am finding it really easy to see into this wide pot. It's a nice format for deglazing because you can really see what you're doing, and it's not as far down to kind of get all those sticky bits up. It's not a big deal, but it is quite nice having a wide base for this. I'm making about a 4 portion stew here, and I'm well below the halfway mark, which means we could definitely come a bit higher. I think you could do double quantities actually for a stew like this. So let's stop the saute and get that lid on, and I'm going to put it on pressure cook high. Can hold it down to get the buttons to move quicker. 25, leave it on keep warm, and off we go. So for me, that's past the saute test. I was able to get those chunks of beef nice and browned in there, and it was really quite hot when I put them in. That's what I'm looking for the saute function. And the other thing I'm looking for is adjustability. So some of the more expensive models of Instant Pot have a kind of fully adjustable 1 to 5 or 1 to 6 change. This little Mini, it's only an entry-level model, but it does have low, medium and high, and that'll be good enough for most dishes. So saute test passed. Pressure cook test, well, let's let this stew get on. It's going to get to pressure, then it's going to cook for 25 minutes, and I'm going to leave it to do a natural release. We don't need a quick release a stew like this. These are the epitome of nap-worthy meals for me. We can just set it away, leave the keep warm button on, so that when the cooking's finished, even when the pressure's dropped, the Instant Pot is going to just switch over just like a rice cooker and keep that at a nice warm temperature until you are ready to serve. And it's one one of the main reasons I love Instant Pot, because it's not calling me back to the kitchen at a particular time, and that's what this channel's all about, is getting some time back at eating good food and keeping things a bit calm in the kitchen, or at least calmish. So see you later to see how this stew comes out. First look, looking good. I know this stew really well. Stir in that tomato puree. Let's have a taste. Oh yeah, meltingly soft. Let's take one of the bigger pieces of beef. Oh yeah, that's perfect. You can see how beautiful that is. So this dish has tested both the sauté and the pressure cooker function, and it's a double thumbs up. So it's worked for both. The pressure cooker is actually really impressive. It feels quite quick to me. So I do have a full video on this beginner's beef stew recipe, which is a kind of teaching video and gives you a lot of information on why I'm doing things in the way that I'm doing them. So if you want to see that, check out the link below. And now I'm going to decant this into a container and get it into the fridge. Let's go on to the next test. Okay, so I've got out my trusty InstantPot Pro version 1 for the egg test, because I'm trying to work out if the egg setting on this UK version of the InstantPot Mini is low pressure or just another version of high pressure. I think it's probably high pressure. It's very hard to compare two Instant Pots because there's so many differences with how they let out the steam, how slow they are, and eggs are the most sensitive test ever, especially soft-boiled eggs. But let's just have a go and see what the difference is if we do both of these on my trusted method for the Pro, which is to give them 3 minutes, then fast release, and see how that works on the Mini. So let's do it. Okay, so I'm going to put 375 mils of water in each of the Instant Pots. And then let's just use the standard trivets in both of them. And I'm just going to use 2 eggs. These are room temperature eggs. And I'm just going to put 1 in each for the purpose of the test, because they're so expensive, aren't they? Get the lid on. So let's press egg, 3 minutes. Take off the keep warm and just set that away. Same here, pressure cook. But it's got a preset for egg. This is on low pressure. On this one, take off the keep warm and set those off. Let's see what happens. So the Instant Pot Pro has come to pressure first, but of course this is low pressure and this isn't far away. Pins up, that means it's nearly there. There's the Instant Pot Mini got to pressure just about a minute later. So there's the Instant Pot Pro done, so we'll cancel that and let out the steam. I'll pop that one into cold water to shock it. Now you'll see the difference in steam release. And that lid off. And again, going to pop that into some cold water for a minute. Should just work out actually. Let's peel this first one. So this is the Instant Pot Pro egg. And let's see how that looks. And there you see it's my perfect soft-boiled egg. And that's the other one, timer up. This one is the Instant Pot Mini, 3 minutes on the egg setting. And now not bad actually. So the one on the left is the Instant Pot Pro, and the one on the right is the Instant Pot Mini. Well, that's a very interesting test. I still don't know really whether that's high pressure or low pressure, but it did come out with a very nice soft-boiled egg. So let's stop our investigations there and just try out the default setting for egg on the Instant Pot Mini and see how the hard-boiled eggs come out. Again, 2 room temperature eggs. and let's put them on the egg setting, and now let's change that back up to 5. Okay, so here we go. Release that pressure. Watch for that pin going down. Okay, so here's our 5-minute, I think, hard-boiled egg. Yeah, that looks good. So that default setting for the hard-boiled eggs gets a thumbs up. It might seem mad doing eggs in the Instant Pot, but I really like it. You can do so many at once in there, and they're much easier to peel. So that's a lot of testing done today. I'm now going to finish chopping up these eggs and get them into some sandwich filling for the week, and maybe I'll do one more test before we pack up that camera today. Maybe the steam function, because that is super confusing between the manual I've downloaded and the quick start guide. Again, I can't tell whether it's under pressure or not. So let me get on with these eggs, and then if I've got enough energy left, I'll do another test. Okay. Let's try out this steam function. So let's start again with our 375 minimum recommended liquid, because I'm not sure whether this steam setting is under pressure or not. So I'm going to start by assuming that it is under pressure, and I'm going to try the 0-minute broccoli method. Just doing a really small amount of broccoli here. Steam. And let's try it on the 0-minute first. Start. Cancel that. Let's have a look at what we've got. I think we have got our usual 0-minute broccoli. Let's check. That's good broccoli, 0 minutes. Having done this test now, I think this is similar to some of the other Instant Pots where it is liable to cook under pressure if you use the pressure cooking lid. So if you want to use your Mini as a steamer, let me show you another way of doing it that will work every time. So I've put a fresh set of broccoli on the trivet, and I've got the minimum amount of water there, and the trivet will sit just above. This is my official Instant Pot lid, which I got ages ago. You may already have a pan lid in your cupboard that is just like this, so don't rush out and buy one. Check first to see if anything fits. But what I'm going to do is, instead of putting on the pressure cooker lid to steam, what I can do to make sure I do get that non-pressurized steam is to use a pan lid and put it back onto steam here. It would normally take something like 10 minutes, I think, to steam broccoli. Take off, keep warm, and just do it in the traditional way. So the Instant Pot works perfectly well on steam with a pan lid, and this is going to get you the more gentle steam rather than a pressurized steam. So this is the way I would do it, and let's see how it gets on. Yeah, that's done. And there's our broccoli all cooked up. Okay, so at least for me on this test and my model, that steam button does feel like it's under pressure. No problem, but now you know that. Be careful of your timings when you're doing stuff, and if you want to keep it very controllable, use the glass lid. This Instant Pot will let you do that. You don't need to use the pressure cooking lid for this particular setting. All good. And if you're finding this video helpful, I'd be really grateful if you could give it a thumbs up. This helps YouTube know that I'm trying to be a helpful human and help spread the video further. So thanks very much if you're able to do that. Okay, another day, another cooking test, and this time we're going to test out the slow cooking function on the Mini. And you might know that Instant Pots aren't the best slow cookers. They're never going to be as good as a crock pot, but some are better than others. So what I'm cooking today is a slow cooked chicken tagine, and I first used this as a test recipe in the Instant Pot Pro, and I'll put the video link to that in the description. And I've also used this recipe to test the Instant Pot Duo Plus Whisper Quiet, so I thought let's keep it exactly the same and let's see how this goes in the Mini. And we're going to start by getting this onto Sauté, so we'll put that on Sauté high. And our main start of the dish today are chicken thighs, and they have been marinating in some Rose Herrera, so they're going to taste delicious when we get them out, we hope. And I could use a pressure cooking lid for this, but I prefer to use a glass lid for slow cooking so I can see what's going on. Lid on. Okay, so it's 3:30 now, and this recipe, which is a slow cooker recipe, should take 4 hours in a normal slow cooker, but Instant Pots are slower usually. So what I've done is I've put this on for 5 hours. I will be checking in on this because I've seen in another video, which I'll link below from Lynn's, that actually the slow cooking seemed quite fast and quite kind of vigorous. So I'm going to keep an eye on it and let's see how long this one actually takes to slow cook. Okay, so this is a bit of a turn up for the books. It's only been running for about an hour and a half of its 5 hours, but as I've walked past I can notice it's like bubbling away quite strong. And I've just done a quick test and I think it's ready. So it may be that this Instant Pot is a complete turnaround on the usuals and maybe I should be using the low setting. But anyway, let me just test this properly and get my instant read in there and make sure everything is cooked. And if it is, I'm going to turn it off. 97, so it only needs to be about 74 for chicken. I could tell you it's done anyway because look, it's falling apart. Can you believe that? This chicken tagine is all done. Couldn't be more surprised. I almost wonder whether it's too fast. So I think I might do a little run of slow cooking tomorrow on the slow setting. I normally disregard the low altogether because it's just like kind of keep warm on a slow cooker, but maybe this one isn't. Okay, so after yesterday's shock slow cooking experiment, I've decided I'd better do another test. So what I'm going to do today is test the slow cook function on low. So I think what I'm going to do is cook some chicken thighs, same as yesterday's, a whole load of veggies and some stocks. And I'm guessing it should take something like 4 hours. Instant Pot usually takes 5 when it's a 4-hour dish, but who knows after yesterday. That's bubbling hot now, so this time let's get it onto slow cook and use the low setting and see what happens. Well, would you believe it? This test too, I've just come and checked it. It's 2.5 hours in on low and everything looks cooked already. So let's just double check the temperature in case I'm missing something, but everything looks super done, not just a little bit. So we're not even ready for our tea yet. So what I'm going to do is add in some frozen green beans. That'll bring the temperature down a little bit and let that bubble away a little bit longer. And as soon as these green beans are done, we'll be ready for our dinner. Another surprising slow cook. Those of you who are really good at slow cooking, especially if you've got the mini, please chime in the comments and let me know how things are for you, because I'm not a great slow cooker, so all of this is a bit of a surprise to me, as you can see. So the final preset button that I tested was the yogurt button. I've always had really good results making yogurt in the Instant Pot, and this one is no different. The only problem I had with it is that my mason jars that I usually make yogurt in won't fit in this shallow pot. So if you're buying this to make yogurt, you're going to need slightly shorter jars in order to fit them in there nicely without interfering with the lid, or you make yogurt in the traditional way, which is what the manual suggests you do anyway, which is you make your yogurt just in the pot and then later decant into jars. So big thumbs up with the yogurt. It was absolutely delicious. It passed the spoon test. I do prefer to make mine in the jars, so I'll probably continue making it in my Instant Pot Pro, but it makes lovely yogurt in the bottom. Or if you've got slightly shorter jars, you'll be able to use those in here using the method that I use. And if you don't know what I'm talking about making it in the jars, I have got a video on that, so I'll link that in the description below. Now, On to the surprise that I had with this device that wasn't so good, and that was when I was doing some testing for you on quantities. Because this InstantPot Mini is a 4-quart, the previous Mini was a 3, and the previous Mini was a traditional shaped bowl, whereas this Mini has this short kind of squat bowl with a wider bottom. And for me, because my channel and my life is all about trying to get ahead, to meal prep, to batch cook, to find ways to kind of get ahead of myself. So if the day is very tough, I know I've always got stuff in the freezer or the fridge. So I've been keeping an eye in terms of how much quantity I can get in here. But then since my last video, I've realised that quite a lot of you are looking at this as a 1 or 2 person household. So I wanted to do some testing on smaller quantities. So what I thought would be good for testing was to use something that I cook all of the time that is super starchy and sticky and a bit of a challenge for pressure cookers. And that is my steel cut oats. So in the testing, I tried out doing a large quantity of steel cut oats using my 4:1 ratio, and that came out really well. So you can actually get quite a lot into this Instant Pot without going over that halfway mark that we must stick to for starchy foods. You can go up to 2/3 if it's not sticky, but halfway for sticky foods. And then I thought I'll see how I get on making a small portion of steel cut oats. Now to make that, I was using a 1:4 ratio, as I always do. So I made this small portion using 1/3 of a cup of steel cut oats and then 4 times that in water. Now warning, don't do this at home. This was for my testing. In doing that 4 times 1/3, I was actually below the minimum water level for this pot, and let's see what happened. It's going to cook for its 4 minutes, and then I'm going to walk off and just leave it to have, oh, natural pressure release. What has happened here? Oh. So let's leave it, otherwise I'm going to have porridge all over my ceiling. So that was a bit of a shock, and amazing that I got it on camera, but don't try that at home. So what was actually happening was that the Instant Pot is using its safety features. It's detected that that water in there is too sticky to form pressure, so it's just letting the whole lot of pressure out itself. It's telling me this is no good. So this only happened because steel cut oats are super sticky. So what I can say in terms of the small portions, when I cooked 1 cup of rice with just 1 cup of water, so again not quite meeting the minimum water, but not as sticky as steel cut oats, this Instant Pot handled it absolutely fine. So for making single portions, this is not going to work with the pressure cooker, or probably most pressure cookers, to be honest. So for making something in the main bowl, you do have to have sufficient quantity there that there's enough water to let the Instant Pot come to pressure. So if you are a 1 or 2 person household and you're not sure about this, do know that you can still cook small portions in any Instant Pot, even the 8-litre, and we do that by using the pot in pot method. And that's where we put a trivet in and we put enough water in the bottom, but we actually cook that 1 portion of rice or that 1 portion of oats in a little bowl within the bowl, and in that way it can come to pressure and there's no problem at all. So that's my cooking test in this Mini done, and honestly I bought this to review for the channel because people are always asking me about the small Instant Pots, and I really didn't think it was for me. But you know what? I'm kind of falling in love with it a bit, and I think it might become my second Instant Pot. So we shall see. In part 3, I'm going to talk through the differences of another more entry-level model of Instant Pot, which is the Instant Pot Whisper Quiet. So if you're hovering between those two, should I go for a larger size, different features, or go for the mini size? I hope that will help. So join me in part 3 for that, and I'll see you over there.